Hello, my name is Dr. Julian Vance, and I want to welcome you to this book. This is not just a book filled with ideas. It is a guide, a companion, a set of tools to help you understand yourself, master your emotions, and live with more peace, power, and clarity. In today's world, we are surrounded by noise, stress, distractions, pressure from school, work, and relationships. It is easy to feel lost, anxious, or overwhelmed. But the truth is this: inside you, there is a calm center. There is wisdom, strength, and balance waiting to be unlocked. This book is here to help you discover it. We will walk through emotional intelligence. You will learn how to understand your feelings and the feelings of others. You will discover how to turn stress into strength, how to use empathy to build real connections, how to stay calm when life throws challenges your way, and how to bounce back stronger after failure. Every chapter will give you not just knowledge, but tools you can use daily. Simple exercises, practical examples, stories that you can connect with. By the end of this journey, you will not only think differently, you will feel differently, you will act differently. This is a book about growth, about resilience, about building the inner strength you need to live a life of purpose and meaning. And I promise you this: if you listen with an open heart and practice what you learn, this book will change the way you see yourself. It will change the way you see others. And it will change the way you live your life. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1: Understanding Emotional Intelligence. Welcome to the first step of your journey toward mastering emotional intelligence. You may have heard the word many times before, but let's break it down in the simplest way possible. Emotional intelligence, often called EQ, is your ability to understand your own emotions, manage them, and also recognize the emotions of others. It is not about being smart in the traditional sense. It is not about solving math problems faster or memorizing facts. It is about being smart with your feelings. Now, let's pause for a moment. Imagine a person who is extremely intelligent on paper. They have high grades, a powerful degree, maybe even a brilliant mind. But when life gets tough, when people criticize them, or when relationships get complicated, they break down. They get angry too quickly, they panic under pressure, and they can't connect with people. That's someone with a high IQ but low EQ. Now picture someone else. They may not be the smartest in the room when it comes to books or exams, but they understand themselves deeply. When they feel angry, they can pause and breathe before reacting. When others are upset, they notice it immediately and offer comfort. When life throws challenges at them, they remain calm and keep moving forward. That's the power of emotional intelligence. And here's the truth: in today's world, emotional intelligence often matters more than IQ. Because we live in a world full of emotions, not just facts. Think about it. Every day, you are dealing with emotions. When you wake up, maybe you feel tired or motivated. When you talk to your family, you might feel love, or sometimes frustration. When you go to school, work, or face challenges, you might feel stress, excitement, or fear. Emotions are everywhere. They shape how you think, how you act, and how others see you. That's why emotional intelligence is like the secret key to success. It's not magic. It's not something you are born with or without. It's a skill. And the good news is this: you can learn it, practice it, and master it. Now let's go deeper. There are 5 main parts to emotional intelligence. The first is self-awareness. The second is self-regulation. The third is motivation. The fourth is empathy. And the fifth is social skills. Together, these 5 build the foundation of EQ. Let's start with the first one: self-awareness. Self-awareness means you understand your emotions as they happen. It's like having a mirror for your mind. When you're angry, you notice it. When you're nervous, you recognize it. When you're happy, you know why. Most people are controlled by their emotions without even realizing it. For example, imagine you are walking into an exam. Your hands get sweaty, your heart beats fast, your stomach feels tight. That's anxiety. But if you don't recognize it, You might panic and forget everything you studied. Now imagine you are self-aware. You pause and say to yourself, "This is just my body preparing me for the challenge. I can handle this." Suddenly, you feel calmer. That's the difference. Self-awareness gives you power, because you can't control what you don't notice. The second part of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. This is the ability to manage your emotions. It's one thing to notice you're angry. It's another thing to stop yourself from shouting at someone you care about. For example, picture this. Someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel anger rising. Without self-regulation, you might shout, honk the horn, or even get into an argument. But with self-regulation, you pause. You take a deep breath. You remind yourself that getting angry won't change anything. You let it go. And you move forward in peace. That's strength. That's intelligence with emotions. The third part is motivation. Not the motivation you get from watching a quick video or reading a quote, but the kind of motivation that comes from within. It's the inner fire that keeps you going even when things get tough. Imagine this. You set a goal to study for 1 hour every day, but after 2 days, you feel tired. Your friends are watching TV. Your phone is calling you. Without emotional intelligence, you give up. But with motivation as part of your EQ, you say, "This is bigger than comfort. This is about my future." And you keep going. That's the kind of motivation that separates winners from quitters. The fourth part is empathy. Empathy means understanding the feelings of others. It doesn't mean you agree with them all the time. It means you see the world through their eyes. For example, imagine a friend who is usually cheerful suddenly becomes quiet. Without empathy, you ignore it. But with empathy, you notice. You ask, "Hey, are you okay?" That small act can change everything. Because people don't always remember what you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. The fifth part of emotional intelligence is social skills. This is about how you connect with people. It's how you communicate, resolve conflicts, and build strong relationships. Think about the leaders you admire. They are not just smart. They know how to inspire, how to listen, and how to bring people together. That's social intelligence. And when you combine all 5 parts, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, you unlock the full power of emotional intelligence. Now let's bring this to your life. Why does this matter for you right now? Because every dream you have, every relationship you want, every challenge you face, will require emotional intelligence. Do you want success in your career? You'll need to handle stress, stay motivated, and work with people. Do you want healthy relationships? You'll need to listen, understand, and control your reactions. Do you want inner peace? You'll need to understand yourself and manage your emotions. EQ is the key to all of this. And here's the exciting part. Emotional intelligence grows with practice. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. Just like going to the gym makes your muscles stronger, training your emotional intelligence makes your life stronger. So let me ask you, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to be controlled by your emotions? Or do you want to control them? Do you want to be blind to the feelings of others? Or do you want to connect deeply with people? The choice is yours. And it starts today. From this moment on, begin to notice your emotions. Pay attention to the emotions of others. Practice patience. Practice empathy. And watch how your world changes. Because when you master emotional intelligence, you don't just master your emotions. You master your life. Chapter 2. Building self-awareness. If emotional intelligence is a house, then self-awareness is the foundation. Without it, everything else collapses. So let's take this seriously. Self-awareness means noticing your emotions as they rise. It means understanding what triggers them. It means recognizing the patterns of your thoughts. Most people walk through life blind to their own emotions. They feel sad and say, "I don't know why." They feel angry and blame everyone around them. They feel anxious and think it's just bad luck. But here's the truth. Emotions don't come from nowhere. They are signals. They are messages from your mind and body. And if you learn to read them, you will have the power to guide your life. Imagine this. You are about to give a presentation at school or work. Your heart races. Your hands sweat. Your mind says, "What if I fail?" That is fear speaking. But if you are self-aware, you notice it. You say, "This is fear. This is my body preparing me." And suddenly, you are calmer. You see, awareness doesn't remove emotions. It helps you understand them. And when you understand them, you can manage them. Now let's talk about triggers. Triggers are things that spark your emotions. For some people, it's criticism. For others, it's being ignored. For some, it's failure or rejection. The problem is not the trigger itself. The problem is not knowing what your triggers are. Imagine someone criticizes your work. Without self-awareness, you explode in anger. But with self-awareness, you pause and think, why did this hurt me so much? Is it because I fear being seen as weak? Is it because I want to be perfect? That's growth. Because the moment you understand your triggers, you begin to control them instead of letting them control you. Now let's go into thought patterns. Your thoughts are like roads in your brain. Some are smooth highways you travel every day. Others are small paths you rarely use. If you always think negatively, your brain builds a highway of negativity. If you always think positively, your brain builds a highway of hope. Self-awareness means noticing which highway you are using. Are you always expecting the worst? Are you always doubting yourself? Or are you seeing possibilities? The first step to change is awareness. Now, let's talk about practical exercises. The first tool is journaling. Journaling is like having a mirror for your mind. At the end of the day, sit down and write. What did I feel today? Why did I feel that way? What triggered me? You don't need fancy words. Just write the truth. If you felt angry, write it. If you felt proud, write it. If you felt jealous, write it. When you see your emotions on paper, you begin to understand yourself. The second tool is mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply being present in the moment. It's noticing what is happening inside you right now. You can practice by sitting quietly for 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. And just ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? You don't judge it. You just notice it. This simple habit will make you more aware of your emotions during the day. The third tool is reflection. Reflection means looking back at your actions and asking why. If you shouted at someone, ask yourself later, what made me react like that? If you avoided a task, ask, what emotion was I trying to escape? Reflection turns every mistake into a lesson. Now, let's bring this together. Self-awareness is not about being perfect. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about saying, yes, I felt jealous. Yes, I felt scared. Yes, I overreacted. And then asking, what can I learn from this? Because once you know yourself, you can grow yourself. Imagine trying to drive a car with no dashboard. You don't know your speed. You don't know how much fuel you have. You don't know if the engine is overheating. You would crash. That's how life feels without self-awareness. But when you are aware, it's like having a clear dashboard. You see the signals. You know when to slow down. You know when to take a break. You know when to keep going. That's power. So from today, I want you to make a decision. Decide to notice your emotions. Decide to write them down. Decide to reflect on them. Because knowing yourself is the first step toward mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, the world around you begins to change. Self-awareness is not something you practice once. It is something you practice every single day. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't do it once and say, I'm done forever. You do it daily, because it keeps you clean and healthy. Self-awareness is the same. The more you practice, the clearer your mind becomes. Let's explore more tools you can use. One powerful method is the pause and name technique. Here's how it works. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, pause for just a few seconds. Then give that emotion a name. Say, I am feeling angry. Or, I am feeling anxious. Or, I am feeling excited. Why is this so powerful? Because when you name an emotion, you separate yourself from it. Instead of being controlled by it, you begin to control it. It's like saying, this is not who I am, this is just what I feel right now. That small step changes everything. Another exercise is the why ladder. When you feel something, ask yourself, why do I feel this way? Then ask again, and why is that? And keep going deeper, like climbing down a ladder. For example, let's say you feel jealous of a friend's success. Ask, why am I jealous? You might answer, because they are ahead of me. Ask again, why does that bother me? You might answer, because I fear I will never succeed. Now you see the real issue is not their success. It's your own fear. That's the power of the why ladder. It takes you from the surface to the root. And when you reach the root, you can start to heal. Here's another tool, the emotion check-in. Set reminders during the day, maybe every 2 hours. When the reminder rings, pause and ask, what am I feeling right now? Don't judge it. Just notice it. You might say, I feel tired. Or, I feel calm. Or, I feel stressed. These small check-ins build a habit of noticing your emotions. And the more you notice, the more control you gain. Now let's bring in a real-life scenario. Imagine you are in an argument with someone you care about. They say something that hurts you. Without self-awareness, you snap back, and the fight grows worse. But with self-awareness, you pause. You notice your anger. You think, I feel hurt because I want to be respected. Now, instead of shouting, you can say calmly, I feel hurt when you say that. Do you see the difference? Self-awareness doesn't stop emotions from rising, but it gives you the wisdom to respond, not just react. Let's take another example. Imagine you are at work, and your boss criticizes your project. Your first reaction might be, they hate me. But if you are self-aware, you pause. You think, I feel embarrassed right now. Then you ask, why? Maybe it's because you value doing things perfectly. Maybe it's because you fear failure. Now, instead of feeling destroyed, you can learn from the criticism. That is growth through self-awareness. Here's something important to remember. Self-awareness is not about judging yourself. It's not about saying, I shouldn't feel this way. It's about noticing and accepting. Because emotions are not bad or good. They are simply information. They are like road signs on your journey. If you ignore them, you get lost. If you follow them, you understand the path. Now let me give you a daily routine to build self-awareness. In the morning, before you start your day, sit quietly for 1 minute. Ask yourself, how do I feel right now? During the day, do short emotion check-ins. Just pause, breathe, and notice. At night, journal for 5 minutes. Write down 3 emotions you felt that day. Write what triggered them. And write how you responded. If you do this for 30 days, you will understand yourself better than ever before. And here's the magic. Once you understand yourself, you can begin to change. You can stop repeating the same mistakes. You can stop being controlled by hidden fears. You can stop hurting others without knowing why. Instead, you will live with clarity. You will live with strength. You will live with peace. Because the more you know yourself, the more power you have over your life. So let me leave you with this challenge. For the next week, commit to writing down your emotions every day. Don't skip it. Don't hide from it. Face it with courage. Because self-awareness is not always comfortable. Sometimes you will discover things about yourself you don't like. But that's okay. Because facing the truth is the first step to freedom. And freedom begins with self-awareness. Chapter 3. The Power of Self-Regulation. Now that you understand your emotions through self-awareness, it's time to take the next step. Self-regulation. If self-awareness is about noticing your emotions, then self-regulation is about managing them. It's the difference between reacting quickly and responding wisely. Think about this. How many times have you said something in anger and regretted it later? How many times have you acted out of frustration and made things worse? That is what happens when emotions control you. But when you practice self-regulation, you control them instead. And that changes everything. Let's make it simple. Self-regulation is the ability to pause, breathe, and choose your response. It's not about ignoring emotions. It's not about pretending they don't exist. It's about mastering them so they don't master you. Imagine this scenario. You are in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Your anger explodes. You want to honk, shout, or even chase them. But then you pause. You breathe. You ask yourself, will reacting help me, or will it make things worse? Suddenly, you decide to let it go. That is self-regulation. And that small choice protects your peace. Let's take another example. Your boss or teacher gives you harsh feedback. You feel embarrassed and defensive. Without self-regulation, you argue or shut down. But with self-regulation, you pause. You remind yourself, this feedback is not an attack. It is a chance to improve. Now you can listen calmly and grow. That's the power of self-control. Now let's talk about techniques you can use. The first one is deep breathing. It sounds simple, but it is powerful. When you are angry or stressed, your body tenses up. Your heart races. Your mind spins. Deep breathing resets your system. Try this. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Repeat this 3 times. You will feel calmer, clearer, and more in control. The second technique is the pause button. Whenever you feel strong emotions, don't react immediately. Imagine you have a pause button in your mind. Press it. Take a few seconds to think. Ask yourself, what's the best response here? This short pause can save you from hours of regret. The third technique is reframing your thoughts. Reframing means looking at the same situation from a new perspective. For example, if someone criticizes you, instead of thinking, they hate me, you reframe it as, this is a chance to learn. If you fail at something, instead of saying, I'm a loser, you reframe it as, this is feedback for growth. Reframing transforms problems into lessons. Another tool is physical release. Sometimes emotions get stuck in the body. When you feel stressed, go for a walk. When you feel angry, do some push-ups. When you feel anxious, stretch your body. Physical movement helps release emotional energy. Now let's be clear. Self-regulation is not about suppressing emotions. It's not about bottling them up. Because bottled emotions always explode later. Instead, it's about channeling them in a healthy way. It's about saying, yes, I feel angry, but I will choose my response. That is real power. Let me give you a powerful image. Imagine your emotions are like wild horses. If you let them run freely, they will destroy everything in their path. But if you learn to guide them, they will carry you to success. That is what self-regulation does. It doesn't kill your emotions. It tames them. Now let's talk about frustration. Frustration is that feeling when things don't go your way. Maybe your project takes longer than you expected. Maybe people don't understand you. Without self-regulation, frustration turns into anger, or even giving up. But with self-regulation, you pause. You remind yourself, this is part of the process. You adjust your mindset and keep going. That's how you build resilience. Here's a challenge for you. The next time you feel angry, don't react. Pause. Breathe. Reframe. And then choose your response. Do this once. Then do it again. And again. Until it becomes natural. Because every time you practice self-regulation, you grow stronger. And with strength comes freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from stress. Freedom from being controlled by others. That is the gift of self-regulation. So remember this. You cannot control the world, but you can control yourself. And that is enough to change everything. Imagine this. You are at a family dinner. A relative says something that annoys you deeply. Without self-regulation, you snap back, and suddenly the atmosphere is tense. With self-regulation, you pause. You take a deep breath. You remind yourself, I don't need to argue to be respected. You respond calmly, and the conversation continues peacefully. Here's another example. You are playing a sport, maybe football or basketball. The score is close. Your teammate makes a mistake. Your first impulse is to yell or blame them. But if you regulate your emotions, you say, it's okay. Let's focus on the next play. By staying calm, your team performs better. Think about work situations. A colleague takes credit for your idea. You feel a surge of anger. Without self-regulation, you confront them harshly. The situation escalates. With self-regulation, you pause. You ask yourself, what is my goal here? You might calmly address it later, or focus on delivering even better results. Here's a scenario from daily life. You are stuck in traffic, late for an important appointment. Other drivers are reckless, cutting you off. Your stress rises. Without self-regulation, you honk, yell, or drive recklessly. With self-regulation, you notice your anger. You breathe. You remind yourself, I cannot control other drivers, but I can control my reactions. You arrive safely, calmer than before. Imagine a student preparing for an exam. The questions are harder than expected. Panic begins to creep in. Without self-regulation, they freeze and give up. With self-regulation, they pause. They take a deep breath. They tackle the questions one at a time. Their mind clears, and they perform far better than expected. Think about friendships. A friend cancels plans last minute. You feel frustrated. Without self-regulation, you lash out or cut them off. With self-regulation, you pause. You reflect. Maybe they had a valid reason. You respond calmly and maintain the relationship. Here's another practical exercise. Picture a situation where someone insults you online. Your immediate urge is to reply angrily. Instead, practice the pause. Wait 10 seconds. Read your words before sending. Ask yourself, will this response help or hurt me? Often, you will choose not to react, saving yourself stress and conflict. Now let's explore another tool, visualization. Before facing a challenging situation, imagine yourself handling it calmly. Picture yourself staying in control. Picture your words measured. Picture your emotions steady. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to stay regulated when the real moment comes. Think about a manager leading a difficult meeting. An employee challenges their decision. Without self-regulation, the manager might snap, damaging trust. With self-regulation, they pause, breathe, and respond respectfully. The result? Respect grows, solutions appear, and the team stays united. Here's another everyday example. You are trying to lose weight or build a habit. You feel cravings or laziness. Without self-regulation, you give in. With self-regulation, you pause. You remind yourself of your goal. You make a conscious choice to stay on track. Small choices like this, repeated every day, create massive results over time. Imagine parenting. A child throws a tantrum in public. Without self-regulation, a parent might yell or shame them. With self-regulation, the parent takes a breath. They respond calmly. They guide the child with patience and love. The child learns better behavior, and the parent models emotional control. Even in relationships, self-regulation is crucial. Arguments with a partner can escalate quickly. Without regulation, harsh words are exchanged. With regulation, you notice your rising emotions. You pause, breathe, and communicate calmly. Conflict turns into understanding, and connection grows stronger. Here's a mental exercise to practice daily. Whenever you feel irritation, stop and ask, what triggered me? What is the real reason I feel this way? Is my reaction helping or harming me? Answer honestly. This simple habit builds strong self-regulation over time. Imagine facing a major life setback. You lose a job, fail a test, or face rejection. Without self-regulation, despair can take over. With self-regulation, you acknowledge your feelings. You pause. You plan your next steps calmly. You move forward without letting temporary emotions control your decisions. Self-regulation is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Every situation you practice strengthens your emotional control. Every pause, every breath, every thoughtful response builds resilience. And the results show in all areas of life: relationships, work, studies, health, and inner peace. Remember, nobody can remove stress, anger, or frustration from your life. But you can choose how to respond to them. That choice changes everything. So here is your challenge today. Whenever strong emotions arise, use at least one tool. Breathe deeply. Pause before reacting. Reframe your thoughts. Visualize calm. Reflect on triggers. Do this daily. And watch how your life begins to transform. Because self-regulation is not just a skill. It is freedom. It is power. It is the gateway to a life you control, not one that controls you. Imagine you are in a meeting, presenting your ideas. Someone interrupts you rudely. Without self-regulation, you might snap. You might raise your voice or feel your face burn with anger. With self-regulation, you notice your rising emotions. You pause. You take a deep breath. You respond calmly, "I'd like to finish my point, then I will hear yours." This small act of control earns respect and keeps the conversation productive. Now picture a sports game. Your team is losing by several points. Frustration rises. Without self-regulation, players argue, blame each other, and lose focus. With self-regulation, you notice your frustration. You refocus on the next play. You encourage teammates. Your calm energy spreads, and suddenly the team plays better than expected. Think about school or exams. A difficult question appears on your test. Your heart races. Your mind screams, "I can't do this." Without self-regulation, panic takes over. You freeze and leave answers blank. With self-regulation, you pause. You breathe slowly. You remind yourself, "I have prepared for this. I can solve it step by step." You approach the question calmly, and suddenly it feels manageable. Here's another everyday scenario. You receive criticism on social media or in a group chat. Your first instinct might be to reply angrily or defend yourself. Without self-regulation, this can escalate into a long argument. With self-regulation, you pause. You think, "Do I want to react emotionally, or do I want to respond wisely?" You choose a calm response, or decide not to respond at all. This protects your peace and reputation. Imagine parenting again. Your child refuses to listen, throws toys, or shouts. Without self-regulation, you may yell, punish harshly, or feel overwhelmed. With self-regulation, you notice your irritation. You pause, take a breath, and respond calmly. You guide your child with patience. They learn, and the relationship strengthens. Now let's explore advanced self-regulation techniques. The first is emotional journaling. When you feel a strong emotion, write it down. Describe the trigger. Describe the physical sensations in your body. Describe your thoughts and initial reactions. Then write the response you would like to practice next time. This builds awareness and trains your mind to respond better in the future. Another powerful technique is visual reframing. When stress or anger arises, imagine a scene in your mind. Picture yourself handling the situation calmly. See the words you would say, the calm posture you would take. Replay this mental rehearsal several times a day. Your brain begins to adopt this response automatically. Let's talk about the power of perspective. Often, we react strongly because we see things as personal attacks. Imagine a coworker criticizes your idea. Your first thought, "They are against me." With self-regulation, You pause. You ask, is this truly personal, or are they just focused on the project? You reframe the situation, and your anger diminishes. Here's another example. You are driving, and someone cuts you off again. Your instinct is rage. Pause and ask, could they be rushing because of an emergency? By imagining another perspective, your anger decreases, and your self-control grows. Let's explore body awareness. Emotions often appear in your body first. Notice tension in your shoulders, tightness in your chest, or a racing heart. By recognizing these signals early, you can take control before the emotion escalates. Try this. When you feel stress, tense your fists lightly, then release slowly. Focus on the sensation. It grounds you in the present moment. Another example is mindful walking. When overwhelmed, take a short walk. Focus on each step, the movement of your body, the feeling of your feet on the ground. This simple action reduces stress and strengthens your ability to regulate emotions. Now let's look at long-term self-regulation practice. It's like building a muscle. Every time you pause, breathe, or reframe, you strengthen your emotional control. Over weeks and months, small victories accumulate. Anger no longer controls you. Stress becomes manageable. Frustration turns into productive energy. Here's another real-life story. A teacher, Maria, faced daily challenges with disruptive students. She used to yell and feel exhausted. Then she practiced self-regulation techniques, breathing, pausing, reframing, and mental rehearsal. Within weeks, her classroom became calmer. She felt more energy. Her students responded better, and her own happiness increased. Think about your life in the same way. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice. Every irritation is a chance to pause. Every mistake is a chance to respond wisely. Now let's finish with a visualization exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine a situation where you usually lose control. See yourself noticing the emotion. See yourself pausing. See yourself breathing. See yourself responding calmly and confidently. Replay this scene in your mind until it feels natural. Now open your eyes. This is the first step toward automatic self-regulation. Remember, the world will always challenge your emotions. People will frustrate you. Situations will stress you. Life will test you. But with self-regulation, you remain unshaken. You respond wisely. You protect your peace. You make better choices. And the results will show in every area of your life. Chapter 4. Motivation from within. Motivation is the fire inside you. It is what drives you to take action. Some people rely on rewards, praise, or recognition to stay motivated. But emotionally intelligent people know a secret. They find motivation from within. They don't wait for others to push them forward. They create their own fuel. Imagine this. You wake up early to study, train, or work on a project. No one is watching. No one will congratulate you. You could stay in bed. But you don't. Because you have a reason inside yourself. That reason is your inner motivation. It comes from a vision of who you want to become. It comes from knowing your goals matter. It comes from understanding that growth is more important than comfort. Now let's talk about setting meaningful goals. Goals are like a compass. Without them, you wander aimlessly. With them, you have direction. But not all goals are equal. Some goals are shallow. They depend on others. Get praised. Make money fast. Impress someone. These goals give temporary motivation. Emotionally intelligent people set deep goals. Goals that matter to them personally. Goals that align with their values. For example, instead of saying, I want to be rich, you say, I want to master my skills and make a meaningful impact. Instead of saying, I want attention, you say, I want to grow and help others. When your goals are meaningful, motivation becomes automatic. Even when it is hard, you keep going. Now let's explore discipline. Motivation alone is not enough. You can feel motivated for a moment and then give up. Discipline is what turns motivation into action. It is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Imagine this. You want to get fit. Some days you feel lazy. Discipline is saying, I will do it anyway. You may not feel like running, studying, or working. But discipline carries you forward. It builds momentum. It strengthens your inner motivation. Now let's talk about turning setbacks into fuel. Life will challenge you. You will fail. You will face rejection. You will feel pain. Some people give up. Emotionally intelligent people see setbacks differently. They see them as lessons. They see them as fuel to grow stronger. Imagine a boxer knocked down in a match. Some will stay on the ground. Others get up, learn from the mistakes, and fight harder. Your setbacks are your training ground. Every challenge can increase your motivation if you know how to use it. Here's a practical exercise. Write down your big goal. Then write down every obstacle you might face. Next to each obstacle, write how you will use it to grow. This turns fear into fuel. Now let's explore daily habits that strengthen inner motivation. First, remind yourself of your why every morning. Ask, why am I doing this? Why does it matter? Second, break big goals into small steps. Small wins every day create unstoppable momentum. Third, track your progress. Seeing how far you've come reinforces your inner drive. Fourth, celebrate growth, not perfection. Each step forward is progress, even if it is small. Here's another example. Imagine an artist learning to paint. The first attempts are messy. They could quit. But they focus on small improvements. Every stroke teaches them something. Their inner motivation keeps them practicing. Months later, they create masterpieces. Now think about a student learning difficult math. Problems feel impossible at first. Frustration rises. Instead of giving up, the student sees each problem as a challenge. Each solved problem fuels their confidence. Each mistake teaches them. Their inner drive grows stronger every day. Another powerful example is entrepreneurship. A person building a business faces endless challenges. Clients say no. Products fail. Money is tight. Without inner motivation, they quit. With it, they keep improving, learning, and pushing forward. They succeed because they are driven by purpose, not applause. Now let's talk about visualization for motivation. Close your eyes. Picture yourself achieving your goal. See the effort it took. Feel the satisfaction. Feel the pride. This mental rehearsal strengthens your inner fire. It reminds your brain why you started. Next, let's explore accountability to yourself. Emotionally intelligent people don't rely on others to push them. They check in with themselves. They ask, did I do what I committed to today? If yes, they reinforce the habit. If no, they adjust and try again. This self-accountability creates consistency, which builds unstoppable motivation. Now imagine facing failure. A project doesn't succeed. A goal is delayed. A test goes wrong. Most people feel hopeless. But you, with inner motivation, ask, what can I learn? How can I improve? You take action instead of giving up. Every challenge becomes a stepping stone. Here's a final practical exercise. Every night, write 3 things. One thing you did today that moved you closer to your goal. One lesson you learned from a setback. One action you will take tomorrow to keep growing. This habit trains your mind to stay motivated from within. Remember this. External rewards are temporary. Praise fades. Money comes and goes. But inner motivation lasts a lifetime. It makes you unstoppable. It makes you disciplined. It makes you grow through challenges. And it ensures that no matter what happens outside, you keep moving forward. Imagine waking up early, before anyone else. The house is quiet. No one is watching. No one will praise you. You feel tired, tempted to stay in bed. But you remember your goal. You remind yourself why it matters. You get up. You take action. This is motivation from within. It is not dependent on applause or recognition. It is the fire you create inside yourself. Now think about setbacks. Imagine you tried something new and failed. Maybe you applied for a job and were rejected. Maybe you failed a test you studied hard for. Maybe you tried a business idea and it didn't work. Without inner motivation, these moments crush you. With inner motivation, they become fuel. You ask, what can I learn? You take the lesson. You move forward stronger than before. Imagine a runner training for a marathon. Some days it rains. Some days their legs ache. Some days they want to quit. But they remind themselves why they started. They focus on the vision of crossing the finish line. That vision pushes them forward. Here's a practical exercise. Every morning, write down your main goal for the day. Then write why it matters. Every time you feel lazy or distracted, read it. This reconnects you to your inner motivation. Now think about discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. You may feel tired, unmotivated, or discouraged. Discipline carries you anyway. Imagine a student studying for a difficult exam. They don't feel like solving a challenging problem. They take a deep breath. They sit down anyway. They start with one small step. That step leads to another. Soon, momentum builds. That is discipline in action. Now let's explore visualization again. Close your eyes. See yourself achieving your biggest goal. Feel the excitement. Feel the pride. Now imagine the steps it took to get there. See yourself overcoming challenges. See yourself making choices that keep you moving forward. This mental rehearsal strengthens your inner motivation. Let's look at another real-life example. A young musician wants to master the piano. They practice daily, even when tired or frustrated. Some days mistakes feel endless. Some days progress seems invisible. But they visualize themselves performing beautifully. They remember why they love music. They continue practicing, step by step. Months later, they achieve mastery. Inner motivation carried them through the struggles. Now let's think about accountability. Emotionally intelligent people check in with themselves daily. They ask, did I take the actions I promised? If yes, they reinforce the habit. If no, they reflect and adjust. This self-accountability builds consistency. Consistency turns small actions into big results. Imagine a business owner building a startup. Clients say no. Plans fail. Money is tight. Without inner motivation, they quit. With inner motivation, they keep learning. They adjust. They work harder. They succeed because their purpose drives them, not temporary rewards. Now let's talk about turning fear into fuel. When challenges arise, fear is natural. Instead of letting fear stop you, emotionally intelligent people ask, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge make me stronger? Fear becomes energy to take action. Here's an exercise to practice daily. Write down one fear you feel. Next to it, write how facing it could help you grow. Then take one small action toward facing it. This trains your mind to use challenges as motivation. Now think about habits. Inner motivation grows stronger when habits are aligned with goals. Small daily habits accumulate. A page of study. A short workout. A morning reflection. Over time, these small habits create massive growth. Imagine a student learning a language. 5 minutes a day may feel small, but after a year, fluency emerges. Inner motivation keeps the habit alive, even when it feels slow. Now picture yourself reflecting at night. Ask, what progress did I make today? What lesson did I learn from setbacks? What action will I take tomorrow to grow? This reflection fuels inner motivation. It keeps you moving forward, even when the path is hard. Here's another story. A young entrepreneur faces rejection after rejection. Each no could stop them. But they focus on why they started. They adjust, improve, and keep pushing. Eventually, success comes. Their inner motivation carried them through every challenge. Now let's finish this section with a visualization. Close your eyes. See yourself achieving your biggest goal. Feel the joy. Feel the pride. Now rewind. See the struggles along the way. See how your inner motivation carried you. See yourself making choices every day that kept you moving forward. This is the power of motivation from within. It is stronger than external rewards. It is sustainable. It builds resilience, discipline, and growth. And it ensures that no matter what happens outside, you will keep moving forward. Chapter 5. Practicing empathy. Empathy is the bridge between people. It is the ability to understand how someone else feels. Not just their words, but their emotions. Not just their story, but their experience. Imagine this. A friend comes to you upset. They say, "I had a terrible day." Without empathy, you might reply, "It's not a big deal, cheer up." But that response misses the point. Empathy means listening. Truly listening. Not thinking about your reply. Not judging. Not trying to fix them immediately. It means feeling their emotions alongside them. Imagine yourself in their shoes. How would you feel in that situation? How would it affect your thoughts, your mood, your day? That is the heart of empathy. Now let's explore active listening. Active listening means giving your full attention. It means nodding, making eye contact, and showing you care. It means repeating or summarizing what they said to show understanding. For example, your friend says, "I failed my exam." You respond, "It sounds like you worked hard but didn't get the result you hoped for. That must feel frustrating." Notice how this simple acknowledgement validates their feelings. It creates connection. It shows you care. Now let's talk about reading body language. People communicate emotions without words. Notice posture, facial expressions, and tone of voice. A friend may say, "I'm fine," but their slouched shoulders and downcast eyes tell a different story. Empathy means paying attention to these signs. It means asking thoughtful questions. Instead of assuming, you ask, "You said you're fine, but you seem upset. Do you want to talk about it?" This shows respect and understanding. Here's an example. Imagine a coworker seems withdrawn. You notice they avoid eye contact and their voice is quiet. Instead of ignoring it, you ask gently, "Is everything okay? I'm here if you want to share." Your awareness and care can make them feel supported. Empathy also requires suspending judgment. When someone shares a struggle, don't criticize or offer quick solutions immediately. Just listen. Just understand. Let them feel heard. Imagine a parent listening to a teenager. The teen is frustrated and rebellious. The parent could scold or lecture. Instead, with empathy, the parent listens. They say, "I hear that you're upset. Tell me more about why you feel this way." This opens trust. It strengthens the relationship. Empathy also improves teamwork. Imagine a team facing a tight deadline. One member is stressed and behind on tasks. Instead of blaming, you ask, "Can I help? What is causing the delay?" Understanding their perspective helps the team work together. Here's a daily practice. Every day, pick one person. Listen to them fully. Notice their emotions. Ask thoughtful questions. Reflect on how they might feel. Over time, your empathy will grow stronger. Now imagine a friend losing a loved one. They feel grief, sadness, maybe anger. Empathy means being present. It means sitting with them in silence. It means saying, "I'm here for you," instead of trying to fix their pain. Empathy is not solving their problem. It is sharing the emotional space with them. Here's another story. A teacher notices a student struggling in class. Instead of punishing, the teacher asks, "I see you're having a hard time. Can I help you understand?" This understanding strengthens trust. The student feels seen and supported. Now let's talk about empathy in conflict. When arguments arise, people often react defensively. Empathy helps you pause. You try to see the other person's perspective. You ask, what is making you feel this way? This approach diffuses tension. It builds connection instead of division. Here's a practical exercise. Next time someone shares a problem, try this. Listen fully. Notice body language. Repeat or summarize what they said. Ask one thoughtful question. Observe how they respond. Notice how the interaction changes when you show understanding. Empathy also strengthens leadership. A leader who understands team members' emotions builds loyalty and trust. They motivate through understanding, not fear. Imagine managing a project. One member is overwhelmed. Instead of scolding, you ask, how can I support you? What's causing the stress? They feel seen. They work better. Empathy even improves friendships. When a friend feels joy, celebrate with them. When they feel pain, listen and support. Empathy deepens connection in every relationship. Now think about empathy in daily life. A cashier seems rushed or tired. Instead of getting frustrated, imagine their day. Maybe they are stressed. Maybe something went wrong at home. A simple smile or kind word can make a difference. Even small acts of empathy build your emotional intelligence. Here's one more example. You are in a group project. One member seems quiet and withdrawn. Instead of ignoring them, you ask, how do you feel about the project? Do you need support? You give them space to share. They feel valued. The project improves because everyone feels understood. Empathy is not a weakness. It is a strength. It builds trust. It strengthens relationships. It makes people want to work with you. It allows you to connect deeply with others. Here's a final exercise. Every day, practice one act of empathy. Listen fully to someone. Notice their emotions. Ask a thoughtful question. Reflect on their perspective. Over time, this practice will transform your relationships and your life. Remember, empathy is the key to emotional intelligence. It allows you to understand others. It builds trust. It creates connection. And it makes the world a better place, one understanding heart at a time. Imagine this scenario. A friend calls you, crying after a breakup. They feel hurt, angry, and lost. Without empathy, you might say, get over it, it's not a big deal. But with empathy, you listen fully. You don't interrupt. You don't judge. You let them pour out their feelings. You say, I hear how much this hurts you. I'm here with you. Notice how simple words can make someone feel supported and understood. Now think about a coworker. They just made a big mistake. Their face is pale. They avoid eye contact. They are clearly stressed. Instead of criticizing, you ask, are you okay? Do you need help? Your awareness and care can prevent further stress and improve teamwork. Here's another example. Imagine a student struggling with anxiety in class. Without empathy, a teacher may scold or dismiss them. With empathy, the teacher notices their struggle. The teacher approaches gently, I see you're finding this hard. How can I support you? The student feels understood. They gain confidence and perform better. Now let's talk about empathy in relationships. When your partner is upset, emotionally intelligent people listen first. They notice subtle signs, tone of voice, body posture, facial expressions. Instead of immediately offering solutions, they ask, can you tell me more about what you're feeling? This builds trust and intimacy. Imagine a disagreement. Your first instinct might be to defend yourself. Empathy shifts the focus. You pause. You imagine the situation from their perspective. You ask questions to understand. Suddenly, the argument becomes a conversation. Solutions emerge. Connection deepens. Here's a practical exercise. Pick one person every day. Observe their body language. Listen to their words carefully. Notice what emotions they may not be saying directly. Ask one thoughtful question to understand better. Reflect on their perspective. This practice trains your empathy like a muscle. Now consider empathy in leadership. A team member seems frustrated and demotivated. A leader without empathy may scold or punish. A leader with empathy pauses. They ask, "What challenges are you facing? How can I support you?" The team member feels seen. They regain motivation. The team performs better. Empathy also works in everyday life. You see a stranger upset in public. You notice their face, their posture, their tone. You smile. You ask gently, "Are you okay?" Even a small act can brighten their day. Here's another story. Imagine a manager noticing an employee consistently late. Instead of anger, they ask, "Is there something making it hard to get here on time?" The employee explains personal challenges. The manager adjusts expectations or offers help. The relationship improves. The employee performs better. Empathy transforms interactions into trust and collaboration. Now think about practicing empathy with yourself. Self-empathy is the ability to understand your own emotions. When you make a mistake, instead of self-criticism, you pause. You acknowledge your feelings, frustration, disappointment, or sadness. You ask yourself, "Why do I feel this way? What can I learn?" This strengthens emotional intelligence and makes empathy toward others easier. Here's a daily reflective exercise. At the end of each day, think of one interaction. Ask yourself, did I understand the other person's emotions? Did I listen fully? Did I show care and respect? If yes, reinforce that behavior. If no, reflect on what you could do differently next time. Now imagine empathy in challenging conversations. A friend is angry with you. Instead of reacting defensively, you pause. You ask, "I hear you're upset. Can you help me understand why?" You focus on their feelings, not your defense. The conversation becomes constructive. The bond strengthens instead of breaking. Another example, a colleague criticizes your work. Without empathy, you feel attacked. With empathy, you ask, "What part didn't meet expectations? How can I improve?" You focus on understanding and growth. This approach turns conflict into learning and collaboration. Here's an advanced practice. When someone expresses strong emotions, notice their energy. Notice tension, voice pitch, and gestures. Match their energy with calm and understanding. This shows emotional attunement and creates connection. Now think about empathy in teams. One member is struggling silently. A teammate notices subtle signs, lack of engagement, quiet voice, withdrawn behavior. They ask, "How are you feeling about this project? Do you need support?" The team member opens up. The team adapts. Productivity improves. Empathy transforms workplaces, classrooms, families, and friendships. Remember, empathy is not weakness. It is strength. It builds trust. It strengthens connections. It allows you to understand others deeply. It creates influence through care, not control. Here's one final exercise. Every day, practice one act of empathy. Notice emotions in others. Listen actively. Ask a thoughtful question. Reflect on their perspective. Observe how the interaction changes. Over time, empathy becomes natural. It becomes your way of connecting with the world. And as you grow in empathy, your emotional intelligence deepens. You become someone people trust, value, and want to be around. You create harmony instead of conflict. And your relationships become richer, stronger, and more meaningful. Chapter 6. Mastering Social Skills. Social skills are the tools to connect with the world. They allow you to communicate effectively. They help you resolve conflicts. They enable teamwork. And they strengthen relationships. Imagine this. You meet someone new at a gathering. You want to leave a positive impression. Strong social skills help you do this naturally. The first step is active communication. Speak clearly. Listen carefully. Show interest in what others are saying. Ask thoughtful questions. For example, if someone talks about their work, you might ask, What do you enjoy most about your job? This shows genuine curiosity. It makes people feel valued. Now let's discuss body language. Your posture, gestures, and eye contact communicate as much as words. Stand tall. Smile naturally. Make eye contact without staring. These simple cues build trust and warmth. Imagine a team meeting. You want to contribute your ideas confidently. Speak calmly and clearly. Use open gestures. Listen when others speak. A balanced combination of speaking and listening strengthens connections. Now let's talk about conflict resolution. Conflict is natural. People have different opinions, emotions, and goals. Emotionally intelligent people approach conflict with calm and strategy. Pause before reacting. Listen to the other person fully. Ask, "Can you help me understand your perspective?" Express your feelings using I statements. For example, say, "I feel frustrated when deadlines are missed because it affects the team," instead of, "You never meet deadlines." This reduces defensiveness. It opens dialogue. Here's an example. Two co-workers disagree on a project approach. Instead of arguing, one says, "I see your approach. Can we combine ideas to improve results?" The conflict becomes collaboration. The outcome is stronger than before. Now let's explore teamwork skills. Teamwork requires communication, empathy, and cooperation. Celebrate others' contributions. Support those struggling. Share responsibility. Imagine working on a group project. One member is overwhelmed. Instead of ignoring them, offer help. "I can take this part so we can finish on time." Team morale improves. Tasks are completed efficiently. Trust grows. Here's another key skill: influencing positively. You don't need authority to influence. Influence comes from respect, credibility, and understanding. Imagine convincing a friend to join a new habit. Instead of forcing, explain the benefits. Share your enthusiasm. Listen to their concerns. They feel heard and inspired. They are more likely to follow your suggestion willingly. Now let's discuss navigating difficult conversations. These happen in work, friendships, and family. Emotionally intelligent people prepare first. They stay calm. They listen fully. They communicate honestly but respectfully. For example, addressing a roommate who isn't cleaning. Instead of yelling, you might say, "I notice the chores are piling up. Can we discuss a plan that works for both of us?" This keeps the conversation constructive. Now let's practice social awareness. Notice how people respond to your words and actions. Adjust your tone, body language, and approach. For instance, if someone seems anxious, speak calmly and give space. If someone is excited, match their energy respectfully. This builds rapport. Here's a practical exercise. During conversations today, focus on listening fully, observing body language, asking thoughtful questions. Reflect on how people respond to your presence. Over time, these habits improve your social skills naturally. Now imagine leading a team. Your team faces pressure to meet a deadline. Some members feel stressed. You notice their emotions. You communicate clearly. You motivate without pressure. You support without micromanaging. The team performs better. Respect grows. And results improve. Another example, making new friends. You meet someone who shares your interests. Listen actively. Ask questions about their experiences. Share your stories. Notice their reactions. Adjust your communication to connect deeply. Now let's talk about persuasion through empathy. Understand the other person's needs and feelings. Frame your suggestions in ways that align with their goals. For example, if a colleague resists a new approach, explain how it benefits them or the team. Empathy strengthens influence. Here's an advanced practice: feedback skills. Giving feedback can be difficult. Focus on the behavior, not the person. Be specific, respectful, and supportive. For example, I noticed the report had some missing details. Let's review them together, instead of, "You did this wrong." Feedback becomes guidance, not criticism. Now imagine navigating cultural or personality differences. People think, act, and express emotions differently. Social skills involve patience, understanding, and adaptability. Notice differences. Adjust your approach respectfully. This builds trust across diverse groups. Here's a final daily practice. During every interaction today, observe body language. Listen actively. Ask thoughtful questions. Reflect on how people respond. Adjust and improve your approach. Every interaction is an opportunity to strengthen your social skills. Strong social skills allow you to connect deeply with others, resolve conflicts gracefully, work effectively in teams, influence positively, navigate difficult conversations, and leave people feeling understood, respected, and valued. Imagine attending a networking event. Many people feel nervous. They don't know how to start conversations. Strong social skills help you connect naturally. Begin with a smile. Introduce yourself confidently. Ask a simple question like, "What brought you here today?" Notice their response. Listen fully. Respond with genuine interest. Small gestures like this build trust instantly. Now let's explore handling criticism socially. Criticism is uncomfortable. Without social skills, you may react defensively or emotionally. With social skills, you pause. You listen carefully. You ask, "Can you give me an example so I can understand better?" This shows maturity and willingness to improve. It turns criticism into an opportunity to grow. Imagine a scenario at work. Your manager says, "This project didn't meet expectations." Instead of arguing or feeling defeated, you ask, "What specific areas need improvement? How can I make it better next time?" You gain valuable guidance. Your relationship with your manager improves. Your reputation for professionalism grows. Now think about persuasion in social situations. Influence comes from understanding, not force. Imagine you want your friend to try a new hobby. Instead of saying, "You have to try this," you ask, "Would you like to try this with me? I think you might enjoy it because..." You appeal to their feelings and interests. They feel heard, respected, and motivated to join. Here's another important skill: reading social cues. Notice tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. Adjust your words and actions accordingly. If someone seems uncomfortable, give space. If someone is excited, match their energy respectfully. This creates rapport and trust. Now let's discuss team conflict. Imagine a team project. Two members argue about the approach. Without social skills, tension rises. With social skills, you listen to both perspectives. You summarize their points to show understanding. You ask, "Can we combine ideas to achieve the best result?" Conflict transforms into collaboration. Here's an exercise to practice daily. During any group interaction, observe body language. Listen fully. Ask clarifying questions. Reflect on what motivates each person. Adjust your approach to foster cooperation. Now think about building rapport quickly. Shared experiences, active listening, and empathy help. Notice common interests. Use humor when appropriate. Mirror gestures subtly to create comfort. For example, if a colleague leans forward while speaking, lean slightly forward too. Your connection becomes stronger without effort. Let's explore navigating difficult conversations at home. Imagine a family disagreement. Without social skills, arguments escalate. With social skills, you pause before reacting. You listen without interrupting. You express feelings using I statements. For example, "I feel hurt when plans change suddenly. Can we discuss a better approach?" The conversation stays respectful. Understanding grows. Solutions emerge. Now let's look at leading teams socially. A strong leader communicates clearly. They listen actively. They motivate through understanding, not control. Imagine a team facing a tight deadline. You notice stress rising. You offer support, not pressure. You assign tasks based on strengths. You acknowledge effort and progress. The team performs better. Respect and trust deepen. Here's another example in friendships. A friend is upset but doesn't talk much. You notice their tone and body language. You ask gently, "I sense something is wrong. Do you want to share?" They feel safe to open up. Your friendship grows stronger. Now let's practice social adaptability. Different people have different communication styles. Some are direct, some indirect. Some are formal, some casual. Adapting your style while remaining authentic strengthens connections. For example, with a formal colleague, speak professionally. With a casual friend, use humor and relaxed conversation. This flexibility improves influence and trust. Here's an advanced exercise. During conversations today, observe the person's tone, energy, and gestures. Adjust your words and posture to match appropriately. Reflect on how your connection improves. Now think about public speaking skills. Even small presentations require social skill. Speak clearly. Make eye contact. Pause between points. Engage your audience with questions or relatable examples. Your confidence grows. Your message is received more effectively. Now imagine negotiation scenarios. Negotiation requires listening, empathy, and clear communication. Understand the other person's needs. Express your needs respectfully. Seek a win-win solution. For example, negotiating a shared expense. Listen to their concerns. Explain your perspective. Offer a compromise. Both sides feel respected and satisfied. Now let's end with a reflection exercise. At the end of the day, think of 3 interactions. Ask yourself, did I listen actively? Did I notice social cues? Did I respond in a way that built connection or trust? Reflect on improvements for tomorrow. Remember, social skills are like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger they become. Mastering social skills allows you to communicate clearly, resolve conflicts gracefully, work effectively in teams, influence positively, navigate difficult conversations, and leave people feeling valued, understood, and respected. Chapter 7. Emotional Intelligence in Daily Life. Emotional intelligence is not just a skill. It is a way of living. It affects every area of your life. Your relationships, your work, your leadership, even your health. Imagine waking up in the morning. You feel tired and stressed. You have many tasks ahead. A high EQ allows you to notice your emotions. You pause. You breathe. You decide how to respond. Instead of reacting in frustration, you plan your day calmly. This is emotional intelligence in action. Now let's explore relationships. EQ helps you understand and connect with others. Imagine a friend is upset. Without emotional intelligence, you might ignore them. With EQ, you listen carefully. You notice their body language. You ask thoughtful questions. You say, "I see that you're struggling. I'm here for you." This strengthens trust. It deepens the bond. Now think about work situations. A colleague criticizes your work. Without EQ, you may feel angry or defensive. With EQ, you pause. You listen. You ask, "Can you explain what you'd like to see improved?" You respond calmly. You use the feedback to grow. This improves performance. It also strengthens professional relationships. Imagine leadership scenarios. A team faces challenges. Some members are stressed. A leader with high EQ notices emotions. They communicate calmly and clearly. They motivate through understanding. They adjust tasks to reduce stress. The team performs better. Trust and respect increase. Now let's look at health benefits. EQ reduces stress. It improves mental clarity. It helps you make better decisions. Imagine handling a stressful situation at home. Instead of arguing, you pause. You notice your emotions. You respond thoughtfully. Your heart rate stays calm. Your mind stays clear. Your body feels healthier. Now let's explore negotiation scenarios. EQ allows you to understand the other person's emotions. You ask questions. You listen carefully. You frame solutions that meet both sides' needs. For example, negotiating chores at home. You say, "I notice we both have busy schedules. Can we split tasks so it's fair for both?" The other person feels heard. The solution works for everyone. Now think about supporting friends. A friend is stressed about exams or work. Without EQ, you might give advice quickly. With EQ, you first listen. You notice their feelings. You ask, "What's most stressful for you? How can I help?" You respond in a way that eases their emotions. This strengthens your friendship. Imagine handling criticism in daily life. A peer or boss points out a mistake. Without EQ, you react emotionally. With EQ, you pause. You listen carefully. You ask for specifics. You respond constructively. You learn and improve. This approach reduces conflict. It increases respect. Now let's think about daily practice of EQ. Start by noticing your emotions. Ask, "What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this?" Pause before reacting. Consider the consequences of your response. This simple habit transforms your reactions. Now let's practice empathy daily. Listen carefully to others. Notice body language and tone. Ask thoughtful questions. Try to understand their perspective. This strengthens relationships. Imagine a challenging workday. Deadlines are tight. A teammate is stressed. You notice tension rising. You pause. You speak calmly. You offer support. Tasks are completed efficiently. Stress is reduced. Team morale improves. Now let's explore self-regulation in daily life. When you feel anger or frustration, pause. Breathe. Reframe your thoughts. Respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. For example, stuck in traffic. Instead of yelling, you think, "I can't control this, but I can stay calm." You arrive at your destination without stress affecting your day. Here's another scenario: handling personal setbacks. You fail an exam or miss a goal. Without EQ, you may feel defeated. With EQ, you reflect, "What can I learn? How can I improve next time?" You take action. Growth happens. Now think about daily interactions. From family to colleagues to strangers. Your emotional intelligence shapes how you respond. It improves communication. It reduces misunderstandings. It creates connection. Imagine a day in your life using EQ. You notice your emotions in the morning. You handle stress calmly. You listen empathetically to friends and colleagues. You respond thoughtfully to criticism. You negotiate and collaborate effectively. You support others. You end the day feeling satisfied and balanced. Now here's a practical daily exercise. Each morning, identify one emotion you feel. Throughout the day, pause before reacting to stress. Practice empathy with one person. Reflect on one challenging interaction. How could EQ improve it? End the day by noting one moment where emotional intelligence improved the outcome. Over time, these habits strengthen your EQ. They improve relationships. They enhance leadership. They reduce stress. They increase personal and professional success. They make life smoother and more fulfilling. Remember, EQ is not a skill you use occasionally. It is a mindset. A way to live consciously, connect deeply, and handle life wisely. Daily practice makes it stronger. Every interaction is an opportunity. Every challenge is a chance to grow. And every day you apply EQ, your life becomes richer, healthier, and more successful. Let's dive deeper into criticism and feedback. Feedback is a mirror. Sometimes it shows what we want to see. Other times, it reveals what we fear. Without EQ, feedback feels like an attack. With EQ, feedback becomes a tool for growth. Imagine your boss says, "Your report was unclear." Your first reaction might be defensive. But with emotional intelligence, you pause. You breathe. You ask, "What part was unclear? How can I improve it?" This transforms criticism into learning. Over time, people respect you. They see you as someone who grows from challenges. Now let's talk about conflict at home. Maybe with siblings, parents, or a partner. Conflicts often come from unspoken emotions. One feels ignored. Another feels disrespected. Emotional intelligence allows you to slow down. You ask yourself, what is the real feeling here? You listen. You try to understand, not just respond. Instead of fighting, you build connection. Now let's explore daily stress. Stress is part of life. But emotional intelligence changes how you handle it. Imagine your schedule is overwhelming. Instead of panicking, you pause. You prioritize. You focus on what matters most. You break tasks into steps. You stay calm, clear, and productive. This protects your mental health. It also protects your relationships, because stress often spills over to others. Now let's look at friendship and emotional support. True friendship is not about constant advice. It is about presence. When a friend is sad, sometimes silence is more powerful than words. EQ teaches you to notice when someone just needs to be heard. You sit with them. You listen. You say, "I'm here." This small act builds deep trust. Now let's think about leadership and influence. Leadership is not about control. It is about connection. A leader with high EQ doesn't just give orders. They inspire. They notice the strengths and struggles of each team member. They encourage when someone feels weak. They challenge when someone is ready to grow. This balance makes teams thrive. Now imagine negotiating under pressure. Maybe in business, maybe with family. Without EQ, negotiations become battles. With EQ, negotiations become collaborations. You listen to the other side. You acknowledge their feelings. You find solutions that respect both sides. The result, long-term trust, not short-term victory. Now let's move to emotional intelligence and health. Studies show stress weakens the body. It raises blood pressure. It lowers immunity. But EQ reduces stress. It helps you regulate emotions. It makes you calmer, healthier, and more resilient. Think of your body as a machine. Emotional intelligence is the oil that keeps it running smoothly. Now let's dive into practical scenarios you face daily. You're in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Your first reaction, anger. But with EQ, you pause. You remind yourself, I cannot control others, only my response. You stay calm. You arrive safely, without carrying anger into your day. Another scenario, waiting in a long line. Frustration builds. Instead of complaining, you use the time to breathe, think, or plan. EQ turns wasted time into useful time. Now let's talk about emotional triggers. We all have them. Certain words. Certain people. Certain memories. Without awareness, triggers control us. With EQ, we notice them. We say, this situation always makes me upset. We prepare. We choose a calm response instead of a reactive one. This awareness gives freedom. Now let's focus on self-talk. Your inner voice is powerful. It can lift you up or pull you down. Without EQ, self-talk becomes harsh. I'm not good enough. I always fail. With EQ, self-talk becomes balanced. I made a mistake, but I can improve. This is hard, but I can handle it. Changing your inner voice changes your outer results. Now imagine parenting or teaching. Children learn not from what you say, but from how you act. If you shout in anger, they learn shouting is normal. If you stay calm under pressure, they learn calmness. EQ in daily life is also about being a model for others. You teach emotional intelligence not by words, but by living it. Now let's look at building stronger connections. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be understood. Emotional intelligence gives you the ability to notice people's emotions, to acknowledge them, to say, "I hear you. I understand." This simple act creates trust. Trust builds strong families, strong friendships, strong workplaces. Now let's think about emotional balance at the end of the day. At night, before sleep, reflect. Did I control my emotions today? Did I listen to others? Did I respond with empathy? Each day becomes a lesson. Each reflection makes you stronger. Remember, EQ is not about being perfect. It is about being aware. It is about choosing growth over reaction. Day by day, choice by choice, you master it. And when you master it, you don't just improve your own life. You improve the lives of everyone around you. Chapter 8. Developing Emotional Resilience. Life is not always smooth. We face failure. We face rejection. We face challenges we did not expect. But what separates those who give up from those who rise again? It is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, to fall down and stand up again, to see problems, but still choose growth. It is not about avoiding pain. It is about transforming pain into power. Now let's explore how to develop emotional resilience. First, understand this truth. Failure is not the end. It is feedback. It shows you what doesn't work. It teaches you what to improve. Every successful person failed many times, but they refused to stay down. They turned failure into a stepping stone. Now let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is one of the strongest tools for resilience. When life feels heavy, gratitude lightens the load. When you focus on what you still have, not just what you lost, your perspective changes. For example, you failed an exam. Instead of thinking, "I am useless," you think, "I have another chance. I have people who believe in me. I have the ability to learn." Gratitude shifts the focus from loss to possibility. Now let's talk about positive self-talk. The voice inside your head matters. When life is tough, your self-talk decides if you rise or fall. Negative self-talk says, "I can't do this. I'm weak." Positive self-talk says, "This is hard, but I will find a way. I am stronger than I think." This simple shift changes your energy. It keeps you moving forward. Now let's explore focusing on growth instead of problems. When a challenge comes, ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me better?" Instead of staring at the wall, look for the door. Instead of complaining, look for solutions. This mindset builds resilience. Now let's look at real-life scenarios. You lose your job. Without resilience, you feel destroyed. With resilience, you say, "This is painful, but maybe it is an opportunity. Maybe I can build new skills. Maybe I can find something better." Another scenario, you fail in a relationship. Without resilience, you give up on love. With resilience, you reflect, "What did I learn about myself? How can I grow? How can I choose better next time?" Pain becomes wisdom. Wisdom becomes strength. Now let's talk about daily practices for resilience. Gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. Positive self-talk. Replace one negative thought with a positive one. Reframe challenges. When problems come, ask, "What is the opportunity here?" Take care of your body. Sleep, eat well, move. A strong body helps build a strong mind. Build connections. Resilient people don't fight alone. They share, they ask for help, they stay connected. Now let's focus on the power of perspective. Life is like a storm. You cannot stop the rain. You cannot control the wind. But you can control how you sail your ship. You can choose patience. You can choose courage. You can choose hope. That choice is resilience. Finally, remember this truth. Resilience is not about being unbreakable. It is about being flexible. Like a tree in the wind. It bends. It sways. But it does not fall. And when the storm passes, it stands tall again. You too can be that tree. Through gratitude. Through positive self-talk. Through focusing on growth. You can rise after every fall. You can turn every setback into a comeback. That is emotional resilience. That is your hidden strength.